Hello everyone and welcome. I'm Beastly Eel. And in today's video, we're going to be talking about Eyes of Wakanda. So it came out earlier than expected, I'll tell you that right now. But it was a 4 episode premiere. I mean, it did the whole series all at once. And it tells 4 stories of the past of Wakanda and the importance of kind of what was going on in Wakanda as time was going on. So the first episode was of a woman who was exiled from Wakanda, who was then brought back to then try to get an artifact or the artifacts away from one of their war dogs, who was deciding to go against the crown and build his own nation to try to unite the world and basically take over the world. So he is known as the Lion, and the Lion's Den is where his home is. Now he's a pirate, so he actually has many pirate ships, which I find to be very interesting. So anyway, she goes hunting for him. We see that she gets captured. And she's going to get branded like everyone else. She fights her way out of there and begins her hunt for the lion. So during all this, she faces the lions. I would say lieutenants is the best description of them, and they're all from different areas of the world. We see one from um, is a Viking. We see another as I believe they were meant to be a samurai, and then another one was I want to say a Russian fighter. I'm now forgetting, but either way, it was definitely very interesting to see. Um, so anyway, she takes them all out pretty easily. I shouldn't say pretty easily. It was definitely difficult for her. But then she goes and finds the lion himself. And he, while all of this is going on, seeing that his people are struggling, he casually gets himself dressed and ready to fight, puts on his mask and everything else, and goes out to speak to her. And he explains to her why he's doing what he's doing, that Wakanda is, not the place that they say it is. There's secrets everywhere. They try not to explain too much about what's going on, which causes some problems at times. And he thinks he can build a better world. He thinks he can unite people together and help them be a large group that they can work together in. And she's kind of like, you're you are legitimately taking people away from their homes and thinking that that's okay. And he's like, yeah, 100%. You have to cause harm to claim goodness. And she beats him, and she's getting ready to take him in to take him back to Wakanda. He then blows himself up. She barely gets out of there, and all of the artifacts sink to the bottom of the ocean. So she goes back home, explains what happens, and states that she has failed. And the woman is like, the general is basically like, no, you didn't fail. You took him out. That's what we wanted. It was better than anything. And she's like, well, I don't feel like I should stay here. I feel like I should be out there helping people. And she's like, yeah, I agree. But if I would have told you to do that, you wouldn't want to. I had to make sure it was your choice and your choice alone. And so she becomes a war dog who then hunts down artifacts all throughout the world of Wakanda, which this is a reoccurring thing, just so you all know. And my biggest pet peeve is this nation's supposed to be the strongest, most intelligent, and yet they're losing artifacts like crazy. I still find that funny. So that was episode 1. Episode 2, we go to the Trojan War. So we have none other than Achilles there with a Wakandan war dog who is looking for a gem that apparently is held by none other than Helen of Troy. So he has been working with Achilles for a long time, and the two of them are best friends, possibly lovers, just because it's that time of history, and he's in Greece, and when in Greece, you do what the Greeks do, and so they're incredible fighters, everything else. So the whole idea is they're trying to get into Troy. Now he wants the same thing as the Trojan, as they do. However, the difference here is he doesn't want to go in there to destroy Troy. He wants to go in there to get the artifact of from from Troy and sneak away without anybody knowing that he existed. Now, nobody trusts the Wakandan war dog except for Achilles, which I thought was really cool. So it gets to the point where they failed trying to fight Troy one way, and then they decide that they're going to be use the Trojan horse, which gets them inside. They go on, do their thing. He goes and separates himself from the rest of the crew to go after trying to get the pendant. So Achilles finds out that this guy is doing something weird, so he goes after him. He then finds him after grabbing the gem from Helen. He then tells Helen and her husband, I forget who he is in history. It's going to bother me now. But anyway, it doesn't really matter. They didn't actually say his name in it. But she was Helen of Troy. He took the pen and he told her to get out of there. The two of them went to go leave. Before she completely disappeared, Achilles comes and sees what happened. And that's when he and Achilles fight each other. And it literally is a fight to the death. And how he kills him is he slices Achilles tendon, which is still funny to me, and then stabs him, killing him and leaving him to rest. He gives him the coins for passage to the afterlife in the underworld and goes on. And that was the end of episode 2, which I thought was very interesting. So episode 3 was um, Wakanda War Dog in China, who was looking specifically for a piece of vibranium that was embedded in a statue of a dragon. So what we find out is he was sleeping with a woman who was guarding the statue. He then couldn't get the tongue that is made of vibranium of the statue out, and so he breaks off the head and takes the whole head of the head of the statue. He goes back to Wakanda, doesn't realize that the woman he was sleeping with is actually the Iron Fist, and snuck onto his ship. So she then breaks into Wakanda and starts taking people out left and right. He then tries to go fight her. He finds out that she is actually the protector, and that the protector actually exists because, in his mind, he was there and didn't see the protector, not knowing he was sleeping with the protector. So anyway, they come to an agreement that she will just take the statue and she will give him the tongue. And she pulls it out, gives it to him after a huge long fight, let me tell you. And she takes out a lot of Wakandans like it was nothing. We get to see her strength and everything else, how she uses the chi to get into her fist and causes a massive shockwave from impact of her punching either the ground or the walls. And we also find out too that they both were supposedly together just to see what the other one was about, and then realizing they were both using each other, or so they thought. But they also think that they also love each other. But anyway, we have that go on, and at the end, he gets her out of there and convinces the Wakandans that it was a training exercise, so that way they don't need to worry, and that we need to build up defenses a little bit better if there was an actual intruder. So that being said, that was the end of that episode. I thought that was kind of cool. So the final episode. The final episode is Constantinople? No. It's a war. It's more modern because there's guns. Anyway, the war dog. One war dog has a prince with him, a prince of Wakanda. He's the third in line to the throne, so he's definitely not going to be king. And the idea is he wants to learn what the world is like out there and everything else. So their job is to take the artifact and bring it back to Wakanda. So there's a massive explosion and everything else, and the war dog is like, no, we're leaving. We are not going to continue this mission um, because we could expose ourselves. So we're going to get out of here. The prince decides to go against his wishes, sneaks into the place, and steals the artifact. Now, the artifact is the same artifact that we see in Black Panther that Killmonger is going to grab. While that's going on, they get the weapon and they begin to go back home to Wakanda. However, a Black Panther comes out of nowhere, knocks them out of their ship or their vehicle, and it tries to explain to them that one, she doesn't want to hurt them, but two, that they need to return the artifact. And they're both like, "What are you talking about?" And she's like, "I am the final Black Panther. I am the only one left. We need you." I've been looking through history. I've been looking at all the stories, seeing past Wakandan issues, and figuring out where it was needed that can change us to get us to the point where we need to be so our world is not destroyed. Because apparently, because that artifact was taken, Killmonger never attacked Wakanda and became king, and then Prince T'Challa, aka soon King T'Challa, no longer did not think that they should open up their borders to the world. And because of that, when Thanos came and destroyed the Earth, he was able to do so with ease because there was no Wakandans helping out. And then Wakanda was easily picked off because they had taken over the rest of the world, and it would be easy to take over just their nation. So she realized that that artifact needed to be not brought back to Wakanda and be kept safe where it was to be found by the villain. They're very much now, believing this woman, thinking that she's lying, and then she explains that the queen now is pregnant for a fourth time, and she's going to have a girl. And that's when the prince is like, okay, we're gonna believe her, and then she gets pulled back into her universe, or her timeline. So he convinces the war dog that this needs to be done because nobody knew that his mother was pregnant except for the royal family, and they were keeping it a secret for many reasons. So he puts the object back. There's a massive explosion. They get out of there and get back to Wakanda and explain that unfortunately, there's no way that that artifact could have survived that explosion. Obviously, it does. What we find out is in that timeline, though, her entire nation gets destroyed and killed by those creatures. However, they are successful in their mission because not Kilgrave, Killmonger finds the artifact and the cycle saves itself, so Wakanda is safe. And it was a nice twist for me because it gave, even though these stories were so different, it showed us why we were seeing them and what was the purpose of it. And it was the fact that this Black Panther was trying to figure out how to save Wakanda for the better, which I thought was very interesting. I enjoyed it. It definitely wasn't the greatest story of all time. However, I did actually enjoy it. Or let me rephrase it. It wasn't the best animation. I thought it was a great story. But I thought it was well done. But let me know what you guys thought about it down in the comments below. Did you like it? Did you not? And why? And as always, if you like the content you see, please make sure to like and subscribe down below. Other than that, this is going to be Beastly Eel signing out. Have a wonderful night. Bye bye.